Hi everybody, we are back. We were not able to be on YouTube for a long time, about a month, but yesterday I posted as short as a trial and it worked, so we are back in business. We had so many issues, as some of you know, with being able to upload and having the upload actually stick and not being taken down. And then we did have the death passing of Nala Jean. If you follow us on other social media, you know about that. Nala Jean was our puppy. She did get extremely sick and she passed away. So we were dealing with that, which was extremely hard on me. Hello. This is Dr. Draken. He's getting huge, isn't he? From being that little orange kitty. That was one of the first. You have to excuse some of the chaos mess behind me. We are, shockingly enough, for living in a tiny home, we are downsizing. So we're going through so many things right now. But, not the point of this video. The point of this video is so we can finally finish the Rabbit Genetics Big 5 that we were focusing on. I have not bred my rabbits yet, so I can still take you on that journey. We will be moving around some cages and things this afternoon, and then everybody will be working on getting bred for fall. Our temps are finally at normal temps that you could actually live in. But let's do E-Series to wrap up the amount of genetics that we're going to do before we start doing our Punnett squares. And we will do some, when we do the breeding outside, we will do some of those Punnett squares and see what we're going to be able to come up with. Now, I would suggest, if you've been following A, B, C, and now E, that you should grab a pen or pencil and some paper for this. I have made some notes so that I don't forget some things. This is a big series gene that we're going to do. I've got 3 full pages here, and I'm going to pop up on here when I go over some of the way that these series genes are written. I will be popping them up so you can take notes. I've kind of numbered some things. So we're just going to hammer it off here and get going. Chances are it could get a little chaotic while we're recording this because this is real life. That's another thing I wanted to acknowledge on the channel. I want to do more. I do want to do a lot of teaching, but I do want to do a lot of vlog style. Sometimes our life is chaotic, and I don't like to show that all the time, but sometimes it is what it is. And so you're going to hear the cats in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. You will hear the generator. We've got a lot of cats. Actually, we have 14 cats on property right now, and they will all still be living here and staying here. Some are inside, some are outside, but nevertheless, it's chaos. So, let's get going. On that note, if you could just hop over to my very, very, very dear friend, Megan, over at Living the Height Life Off Grid. They did just lose their kitten in a tragic accident that they would have never expected it, and their little one is struggling with it. So if we can all pray for them, and if we can pop over there and show some love and support for them and this time, that would be great. Let's get to it. Okay, so the E-Series gene is covering how the dark pigment extends up the hair shaft. Now, I'm going to read off the E-Series, and as I'm reading them off, I will pop them up onto the screen. ED, ES, E, EJ, and E. Now, there is going to be capitals, and there's going to be lowercase for dominant and recessive, just the same as everything else. Most of these are going to carry the double dominant EE. Now, we're going to start by doing ED. I'll pop that up here. It is the most rare, and it is the most dominant. Now, I'm going to also pop up a picture as I go, going through these so you can see as I've done in the other ones. Now, what that is so a self, let's say self black, for example. That is not necessarily an ED as an extension dominant of color. It's not the same as being dominant black. So, let's see. I wrote down some examples. Chestnut, capital A, in agouti, would appear solid black, or it would be opal appearing blue if that gene was in that rabbit. I'm not going to hit on that too hard. It's super rare. That's just, it is what it is. That's what it is. The biggest ones that we're going to cover are actually the next one, which is going to be most dominant over the other things. So this is going to be elsewise dominant in the absence of ED, written like this, dominant black. What are you doing? Really? So, this is going to be ES. Now, you might remember we've covered steel. This is all steel. This is a big one. You're going to want to take notes on this. It can get confusing with the steel. So we're going to cover that first. And it is the most dominant in the absence of that, even though it is incomplete, which we did learn about the incomplete dominance in C series. This right here, this guy, is Jafar, that little kitten that we had. There he is now. He's almost a year and a half now, and he is neutered. So he is now neutered, and he is just the sweetest cat ever in life. Right now, though, he just is trying to run around to see if he can play parkour. Okay, back to what I was doing. So, the E series steel is going to be similar to the C series chinchilla light. True steel is a agouti self, lowercase a, coat with hair tipped in silver or gold. Determination on that tipping goes to the C series genes. Now you're probably wondering, well, when we did the Punnett square, or when we've done this, it's always been like AA or ES or things like that. Well, in this series, we are going to discuss how a full rabbit would be written, and that is where you're going to find out what the A, the B, the C, the E, all that is, and how that's written out by itself. Steel is agouti. The ES covers white markings. So if it has that ES, that steel, it is going to cover up all of those white markings on that rabbit. This can be written, and I'll pop it, ES-ES, or ESE, or it could appear as self, which would appear black, but steel is recessive. Now, I'm going to read off the actual true steel color genetic, and I will pop it up here so that you can write it down to actually see what it is. So, true steel reads A, B, C, D, E, S, E, and that is going to be a steel-tipped chestnut. That's what you're going to get. If your rabbit had that genetic makeup, you are going to get that kind of a rabbit. Everything else is going to be steel-tipped or gold-tipped like steel. Identifiers, the underbelly is going to be a full extension of color. The full thing. There's going to be no ring, no agouti white, none of that. Okay, so now that was steel. it can get confusing when your steal is recessive and you don't know, or if you don't have your rabbits are in pedigree or they're not proven, you don't know what kind of litters they've thrown or anything like that. It'll be a little trial and error. Let's go over the most common, which is capital E. It is dominant full extension. That is just the full extension of color all the way to the tip, but no color cover-up. It's going to be dominant over EJ and E. We're going to get to EJ here in a second. And it's an agouti that's carrying EJ, which is the Harlequin gene. It's going to show slightly that pattern, but it will not be full. It just won't be. That's basically all there is on that. I mean, that is the original gene that the wild rabbits had. And for fun, I am going to put up and show you right now what a wild rabbit genetic pattern is going to look like. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to put it up here so that you can write it down. Little fun little nugget. So prior to the domestic genotype, this is what they were. They were a B, B, C, C, D, D, E, 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 N, E, N, S, I, S, I, aka the original chestnut. All the top hair bonds with the black and the dark yellow with an under white belly. And that is your wild rabbit, and that is, I think, fun. Because that's huge and crazy. Alright, so then we have lowercase EE, that is the recessive, that is a non-extension, that would be your oranges, your fawns, and your reds. That's going to be all of your EEs. Cinnamon, another fun nugget, is a self-black 2 copy of an EE gene, which removes the black except for at the points. That would be like the nose, the tips of the ears, the feet, the points of the rabbit. I would also really quickly like to touch on the silvering gene. That's going to be when the white hairs are intercepted throughout a dark coat. Now, it's not going to be easily identified necessarily without having bred it. Sometimes it's going to present as SIS when you do the silvering gene and heterozygous pairings on your Punnett square. Silver fox, champagne d'argent, cream d'argent, and silvers. Those are going to be the silvering gene, and those are the only rabbits that are going to, their genes were somewhere in there to carry that, somewhere down the line. When you have a broken rabbit, let's go over that, and I have Gus out there. He is a broken blue New Zealand, and then he will show as EN. Broken is its own gene. It changes the Harlequin to a tri, like in the Rhinelander, and the absence of EN would then make it a Harlequin. Alright, so let's talk about Harlequin gene. That would be your EJ gene. That's going to create that stripe pattern, and the genes are going to be distributed on separate hairs. If 2 genes are present, then they're going to have a Harlequin pattern regardless of any of their A series genes giving them any of those dominant agouti color patterns. If it's carrying an E gene, then there needs to be a dominant A gene to be striped. If it's an absence of a dominant agouti gene, you're going to get a tort rabbit. Alright, now we're going to go over the recessive E gene, not EE, that we just discussed. This is just going to be the pure single E recessive, and that is going to be lighter yellow tint, the orange and black torts, the dark pigment is quickly replaced by another color on each of the hair shafts. And that's how you're going to get the difference between the Torts versus the Double E, which is going to get you your fawn, your orange, or your red. It can appear shaded in the absence of CCHL, which is your chinchilla light from your C-Series jeans. It's dark on the base and colors on the point. And that's because the fur is too short to get lighter. And that's where you get the darker point colors from. So, we covered ED, which is the most dominant but rare. We covered ES, which is going to cover all of your steels and how those can be recessive or hidden. And we have covered E, which is your full extension, your most common, and your original. We have covered E, lowercase 1, recessive. And that'll be your non-extension of color, plain and simple. And we've covered EJ, which is going to be all of your harlequins, and that's going to give you your stripes. And then we've also covered brokens, and then that's its own gene in itself, which is going to be your EN. We have covered your EE, which is your double non-extension recessive, and we have covered cinnamons. We have covered your silver tipping gene. And we did touch base on how the wild rabbit plays into that with their colors. I know some people don't want rabbits for meat, even though we do have the rabbits as part of one of the reasons is meat. There are other things that you can do with them. You can take them to show. You can use them for fertilizer. You can use them for if you work on your line and do pets. You kind of have to be careful a little bit because there's so many rabbits right now that are just bred any kind of way. The reason we crossed the New Zealand and the Flemish is for a reason. They give a bigger pelt. The temperament is extremely well and a little bit bigger on the carcass weight, and that works out for us. Anything that we've mixed with the lion head, that was for a special project. It worked out great. But there's a lot of people that will just breed, back to back, and it's cross. And as you've learned, going through this genetic series, you have to have some type of order if you're going to want to know what to expect. So if there already wasn't a plan in place, we would just be breeding specific. Since there is a plan, that is why we're doing that to start, and then we will change things up after that. Thank you all for sticking around and sticking with me. I know it's been a little bit of a long process, but we should be on track. Be sure to follow us on our other social medias, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, to get little daily updates in between the videos. And I will be going over tries and Charlie and things like that are very specific magpie when we go over our breeding video that is coming up soon. So thank you all. See you next time.